Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing us how to cut both short sleeve and long sleeve. So if this is something you're interested in, please keep watching. And now the first thing I'm going to do is to draw a line at this top. This is going to serve as a guide when I'm inputting other measurements. So yeah, if you're still watching up until this point, please click on the subscribe button and don't forget to like also. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come down by 4 inches. You're going to mark this point here. This is 4 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead now to draw a line connecting this point so that I will also not lose track. So this point is actually going to serve as the bicep point, but yeah, I'm going to show us all of this in the tutorial. So now after this is done, the next thing I would want to do is to input the length of the measurement, and the length of the measurement I would be using for this short sleeve is 8 inches. So when this is done, I'm going to go ahead now to connect this line, also draw a line to mark this same point as you can see me doing there. So after that is done, these are the 3 points I'll be working with. So this start point, the bicep line, and then the length of the sleeve. So now I'm going to go ahead and take 4 inches from the start point of this fold. I'm going to get 4 inches and mark it down, and then the next thing I am going to do after that is to also come to the bicep point. I already took my bicep measurements divided into 4, and so I'm going to put it here, and then I have 5.5 inches. So I'm going to mark that point also for us to see. So after this is done, I added 1.5. I added 1 inch as allowance, and the next thing I'm going to do is make a curve from the start point down to this place, and then take it down towards the sleeve length. I'm going to show you all of this in the tutorial for us to see, but before I do that, I'm going to take 4 inches, half of this measurement. Yeah, I'm going to divide this into 2, and then what I have here, I'm going to mark that point there. So this is the point where I will now connect this other one from the start point down to this one, and then down to this, making the curve for the sleeve. I'm just going to go ahead and do it now with my free hand for us to see exactly what I am talking about, and then I will draw it down. You can see. So yeah, this is what I'm just going to go ahead and do. After this is done, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to take the measurements for the sleeve. So I don't want the short sleeve to be very wide, so I'm using about 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that point here like I just did, and then I'll connect this using my ruler. I'm going to draw a straight line to connect this point, and that is basically it for the short sleeve. So the next thing I would do after this phase is to cut. I'm just going to trace out this point following the lines that I drew earlier and connect it. So guys, having traced this out, this is what I have. This is the short sleeve that we are going to be working with. So the next thing I would be doing is to draft pattern for the long sleeve. So the difference between the long sleeve and the short sleeve is the length of the sleeve, and then I'm also going to add about 2 different measurements. So like I did earlier, I'm going to repeat the same measurement just in case you didn't follow the first time. This is a good time for you to follow. So the first thing I did was to get that header line, and then the next thing I did was the bicep point, and then now I'm inputting the elbow measurements, and the next thing I would input lastly is the length, which is also the wrist measurement. So having put a dot on this point I mentioned earlier, I think for the elbow measurement I have about 17 inches, and then for the long sleeve is about 23 inches. So yes, I'm just going to mark this out and then label it for us to see, like I just did here. This is the bicep point, and then this is the elbow measurement, and then I have the sleeve measurements down there. And yeah, these are the 3 measurements I'll be working with. Like I did earlier in the short sleeve measurements, I'm going to go ahead and input the bicep measurement, which is divided into 2, and that's like 5.5 inches, and then I added 1 inch for ease. Then I went ahead to mark 4 points here, and then I will draw the curve. But then again, I'm going to take half this measurement from the top to the bicep point, put it this way, and then I'll divide it into 2 and then mark that point there. So that's where I'll be having the curve at. So when this is done, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it upward, make a curve like I did earlier to the short sleeve. So yeah, this is exactly what I am doing here. Next thing I'm going to do now is the elbow measurement. I went ahead to take the round measurement of my elbow, depending on how free you want the dress to be, and then I just divided the measurements into 4, and then I put the points here like I'm doing here. And then the next thing I would do for the length, since it's going to be a long sleeve, I'm going to take my wrist measurement. So I took my wrist measurements, and then I put it here and then connect these points together just like I'm doing in the video. So yeah, the next thing I'll want this measurements like you saw me doing my wrist measurements. So I left a few space so that my my hand can pass through the sleeve with ease. And then I folded the measurement. I took the measurement and divided it into 4, and then I put this point and then mark it and connect it to the main to the other fab measurement I had earlier from the elbow measurement. I connected it down to the wrist measurement, and yeah guys, so that's basically it for this long sleeve. The next thing I'm just going to do is trace out the measurement. So for this, you can decide to add about an inch to this measurement when you're placing this pattern on your fabric, just for ease and just to be safe. So after this is done, after cutting out this pattern, you can now see what the long sleeve looks like after this is done. And with this, we're basically done drafting out pattern for the long sleeve. And then you might just want to compare them side by side. I'll be putting the short sleeve close to this, and then you know the difference between how to cut the short sleeve and also how to cut the long sleeve. So yeah guys, that is basically it for this. So yeah, you can see what the long sleeve and the short sleeve look like. This is what the long sleeve looks like when you open it up, and that's the short sleeve. Thank you so much for watching guys. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.